what's happening around the world and what's happening here at home. A very good evening to you and welcome to Weekend Primetime News. I'm Sandro Ferdinando. And yes, we are just 10 days away from Christmas. I don't know about you, but I am all excited and pumped up for yet another Christmas, especially since we are bringing you the live news bulletin from here in Echelon Square. So if you are one of those people who love to take pictures and have not visited this area yet, well, you should come with your friends, family, because it's so beautiful here and there are lovely decorations which you do not want to miss. With that being said, it has been a very eventful day for Christmas and beg your pardon, for Sri Lanka rather. And so let's take a quick news bulletin at your headlines for tonight.
Delivering a special statement, Mahinda Rajapaksa resigns from the position of Prime Minister. The new Prime Minister will take oaths tomorrow and the cabinet will be appointed before Tuesday, says Akila Viraj Karyavasan. Sajid Premadasa says the country will not be governed like the past 3.5 years. Elephants in trouble in Tambuttegama. Sri Lanka won the Asian Cricket Council Emerging Team Cup.
Mahinda Rajapaksa resigned from the position of Prime Minister today. Now delivering a special statement to the nation, Mahinda Rajapaksa explained the reasons as to what led to this decision.
Since I have no intention of remaining as Prime Minister without a general election being held, and in order to not hamper the President in any way, I will resign from the position of Prime Minister and make way for the President to form a new government. The change of government that the people expected has now had to be put off, but the people will definitely get the change they desire. No one can prevent that. The coming together of the joint opposition and the SLFP group that was in the government has now created a power bloc that commands around 54% of the vote base. To this will have to be added the votes of our allied political parties in the north and east and the hill country. What is now gathering against the enemies of the country is a country-wide political force that no one can stop. Our main aim in the immediate future will be to hold the provincial council elections, which have already been delayed by more than 1 year and 3 months. The main challenge facing us in the interval between now and the formation of a people's government will be to minimize the damage that can be done by the destructive forces that are now seeking restoration to their former positions.
අලුත් ජනතාවාදී ආණ්ඩුවක් බිහි වෙනතුරු මේ සංක්‍රාන්ති කාලය තුල අපි ඉදිරියේ ඇති ප්‍රධානම අභියෝගයයි.
Mahinda Rajapaksa also spoke about the current political situation in the country.
රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහතා අගමැති කරන්න කියලා.
A total of 117 MPs voted calling for Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe to be appointed as Prime Minister. 14 of those votes belong to the TNA. Even though the TNA also requested that Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe be appointed as Prime Minister, on the same day, TNA parliamentarian Marve Senadiraja made a special statement in Parliament on behalf of the TNA saying that though they voted for Mr. Wickremesinghe to become Prime Minister, they would not join the government and would remain in the opposition. So what has actually happened here is that the UNP, which has a minority of 103 seats, has been taken hostage by the TNA. If they do not adhere to the diktat of the TNA, the UNP minority can lose their parliamentary majority at any moment. The TNA now holds the remote control in Parliament. On 12th December, even before the Supreme Court judgment was delivered, Ranil Wickremesinghe spoke in Parliament about bringing in a new constitution. This new constitution has already been drafted and published in the newspapers as well. Under the provisions of that draft constitution, this country will be divided into 9 semi-independent federal units. The new constitution will also abolish the executive presidency, which means that the presidential election that is due before the 9th of December 2019 will not have to be held. When I was sworn in as Prime Minister on 26th October, that was to form an interim government that would last only for about 2 months until the conclusion of the general election, which was scheduled for the 5th of January 2019. A president cannot stand by and do nothing when the whole country was facing destruction at the hands of the people running the government. We appreciate the difficult and bold decision that the president made on the 26th of October. The UNP government borrowed $20.7 billion in foreign currency loans alone within a period of 3.5 years, and we have no idea as to how much more they will borrow in the coming months. The UNP brought our economy to the brink of collapse through such foreign currency borrowings. even though some have expressed the view that it will be possible to minimize the damage done by the UNP because the president is no longer with them. We must realize that there is much that the UNP-TNA coalition can do without informing the president. The most important thing that happened during this period was that the two-thirds majority in parliament that was available to the UNP to be used at will is now no longer available to them. Therefore, it is now possible to prevent the passage of the new constitution that has been drafted by the same individuals who turned this country into an ungovernable mess through the 19th Amendment. Furthermore, it has now become possible to end the totalitarian system that prevailed in Parliament over the past 4 years, with partners of the government taking over the position of opposition leader and chief opposition whip and masquerading as the opposition while supporting the government. As a result of that dangerous perversion, the Constitutional Council, which recommends candidates for appointment to high office, was made up of representatives of one political persuasion.
ව්‍යවස්ථාදායක සභාවේ සිටියේ එකම දේශපාලන ප්‍රවාහ.
Mahinda Rajapaksa met with the MPs representing the United People's Freedom Alliance at his residence in Vijayarama, Colombo at 9 this morning. Thereafter, Mahinda Rajapaksa signed his resignation letter from the position of Prime Minister. Multi-religious leaders then blessed the former Prime Minister. Mahinda Rajapaksa also took steps to return the state-owned vehicles following his resignation.
We are ready to sit at the side of the opposition. We are hoping to take the country forward with an election as a democratic force.
එතකොට විපක්ෂ නායකකම ඔබතුමාලා සතු වෙනවද?
විපක්ෂ නායකකම
Mahinda Rajapaksa will definitely get the position of opposition leader. The UPFA currently has 101 MPs, so the speaker will definitely have to make a statement.
අනිවාර්යෙන් සිද්ධ වෙනවා ඒක ප්‍රකාශයටපත් කරන්න.
ඒලක 6කින් මහ මැතිවරණයක් ඉල්ලලා තියෙනවා.
ඊට ඉස්සෙල්ලා මැතිවරණයක්
It will be good if we can hold the election before that, because it is good for the country.
ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයේ විදිහට නැවත වතාවක් එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂය හදන ආණ්ඩුවට සහාය දැක්වීමක් සිදු කරනවද ඔබතුමා?
We, as a party, have not decided yet. We are hoping to get leadership and guidance of the president to create a wider, democratic and people-oriented alliance against the United National Party.
තුමාගේ නායකත්වය අපි දිගටම බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා.
සාමාන්‍ය ප්‍රකාශකකට හරි කියලා දිනලා නේද?
හරි ගියා නේද?
It did, didn't it? It is called experience in politics. I have been with the Sri Lanka Freedom Party for 36 years. I started with Madam Bandaranayake. We cannot be in here forcefully, so in the future, we will carry out our duties as the opposition. It was those who appeared out of nowhere that destroyed what Mahinda Rajapaksa had. You know who did it. A group came from the SLFP carrying a message from President Maithripala Sirisena. He was in a high position and with the ability to win any election. But this group and a few others within our party who encouraged this brought him down. They all got together and carried out this conspiracy.
මහින්ද මහත්තයාට මේ ඉරණම අත් කරලා දුන්නේ.
ඒ නැත්නම් මහින්ද මහත්තයාට මේක ගන්න.
මහින්ද ඒක මාධ්‍යයෙන් ඕන තරම් කියලා ඇති. මහින්ද මහත්තයාට කිව්වා මාධ්‍යනුත් කිව්වා.
අපි තුනෙන් දෙක බලයක්
I think preventing them from obtaining two-third majority is a victory. This is the new power and a rise in parliament for an election. They will not be able to postpone the provincial council in this manner.
At around 5 this evening, Mahinda Rajapaksa left his official residence in Vijayarama, Colombo to his residence in Tangol.
Now, speaking at a media briefing held at the Temple Trees today, Deputy Leader of the United National Party, Sajith Premadasa, expressed the following views.
We will commit to serve the people a lot more than we did before and act against fraud and corruption. We are especially hoping to join hands with President Maithripala Sirisena and make this a strong government with instructions and advice from the President.
මම බොහෝම වගකීමෙන් මේ අවස්ථාවේ ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා.
නමුත් දැන් හෙට දවසේ රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්මයා නැවත අග්‍රාමාත්‍යවරයෙක් දියුණු දෙන සූදානමින් ඉන්නවා කියලා වාර්තා වෙනවා. දැන් ජනාධිපතිවරයා එකගතාවේ පළ කළාද ඔහුට අග්‍රාමාත්‍යවරයා ලබා දෙන්න?
ඔව්.
කියන්නේ මොකක්ද මේ සාකච්ඡාවක් ගියාද නැත්නම් කොහොමද ඒ සම්බන්ධව ඔබතුමා?
නෑ අතිකරු ශ්‍රීමත් මෛත්‍රීපාල.
No, President Sirisena is not doing something unusual. He is only acting according to the constitution. They are what you call great decisions. I am not surprised because I know President's background. He is a modest person. This shows modesty.
නිහතමානීත්වයයි එතුමාගේ ශක්තියයි පිළිබිඹුණයි කියන එකයි මම ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා.
ඒතකොට දැන් අයවැයක් ගේන්න අවශ්‍ය තත්ත්වයක් තියෙනවා. ජනවාරි 5 වෙනිදා මුදල් වියදම් කිරීම යම් ආකාරයකට සීමාවක් වෙලා තියෙනවා. මොකක්ද මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් දෙන වැඩ පිළිවෙල කාර්ද අයවැයක් ගේනවා ගේන්නේ?
දැන් හෙට ගරු අග්‍රාමාත්‍ය
With Prime Minister swearing in, the cabinet will be appointed in due time. There is no money to pay salaries from the 1st of January, so a vote of account will have to be submitted. Only a few days more until the 31st of January.
දෙසැම්බර් 31කට තියෙන තව දින කීපයක්.
ඔව් දැන් අනිත් කතාව එකද ওই කාරණාවට දැන් ඔබතුමා කිව්වේ බොහොම මේ මහන්සිලා වැඩ කරනවා කියලා.
නේද එකඟ නොවන කන්
No, the groups who don't agree will have to go home during elections. The people will send them home. Let's put this in simple words. We will not continue to govern like we did for the past 3.5 years. We will work on a wider vision. We are hoping to do revolutionary service for the country.
පොදු ජනතාව ගැන හිතලා අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා විප්ලවීය වැඩ කොටසක් කරන්න.
Views were expressed at several media briefings held at Temple Trees today.
ජනාධිපතිවරයා සමග කරගත්ත එකතු මොනවද?
ජනාධිපතිතුමා සමගත් එකඟතාවය
We have not reached any agreements. President has decided to act according to the decision given by courts and according to the constitution. After Ranil Wickremesinghe takes office as the Prime Minister tomorrow, cabinets will take oaths by Monday or Tuesday after discussions.
ගරුවදර ඉස්සෙල්ලා කොහොමත් කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලය ස්ථිර වශයෙන් දියුණු දෙනවා.
විපක්ෂ නායකතුමෝ සම්බන්ධව ඔබතුමාලා කතා කරලා තියෙනවා.
තාම කතා කරලා නැහැ ඉස්සෙල්ලා.
When the government is formed, the parliament will select the opposition leader.
විපක්ෂ නායක ධූරය තෝරන්නේ.
The Janata Vimukti Peramuna organized a rally in Kirlapane today under the theme, "The conspiracy has been defeated. Let us join for a true people's victory."
දැන් හිතනවා රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහලා ආණ්ඩු හදාගෙන
Ministers who earned in bulk during the past 3.5 years think that they can continue with their misappropriations during the next 1.5 years. No, the JVP remains steady and we will not allow them to steal. If democracy is rejected, we will be the force to topple the government once again. We will not allow Ranil Wickremesinghe to use this temporary satisfaction as an opportunity to sweep the central bank bond scam or the theft committed by his ministers under the carpet. We will continue to fight for democracy. The defeat of this conspiracy is just the beginning and we hope to take this towards a true people's victory.
Meanwhile, the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna convened a media briefing in Colombo today.
රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහගේ
Good friend of Ranil Wickremesinghe, Anura Kumara Dissanayake, will lose his position of Chief Opposition Whip on the 18th. We will function as a strong opposition with 101 MPs. So then the position of Opposition Leader and Chief Opposition Whip should be given to us. Anura Kumara should be given a position for working 20 out of the 24 hours for Ranil Wickremesinghe during the past 6 weeks. So we suggest that he should be given the position of Leader of the House. 6 MPs of the JVP will be given 6 seats. The remaining 14 is also saying that they are in the opposition. If it is not going to be a national government and if it results in a lesser number of cabinet ministerial portfolios, those who are frustrated will want to join us. Then Ranil Wickremesinghe will have to worship the TNA.
එතකොට වෙනවා වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්තයාට TNA දේවාලේ වඳින්න.
UNP MP Nalin Bandara shared the following views.
When the government was toppled, we witnessed several individuals coming forward with their acting skills, and one such individual was Namal Kumara, who played a prominent role in the filming of toppling the government. Once we re-established our government, we must find and identify those responsible in scripting, producing and directing this film. We must identify who provided music for this film. All of this is just one part of a conspiracy of toppling the government. Members of the GMOA has issued a statement refusing to work with Dr. Rajendra Senaratne as the Minister of Health. 1.5 months later, they have finally woken up. After we appoint the cabinet, we will send the list to the GMOA for approval. We will ask them to add footnotes and send.
එතුමාලට කියනවා ඒ සඳහා ෆුට්නෝට් එකක් දාලා එවන්න කියලා.
අදුවා දැන් එතකොට දැන් ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයෙන් යම් කණ්ඩායමක් එනවා කියලා කිව්වද ඔබතුමාලට?
ඔව් දැන්ට සාකච්ඡා කරමින් යනවා.
Discussions are underway. Around 20 MPs are prepared to join us. However, we as a team do not approve a party joining us. We have told them that they must join individually, so we will be able to appraise their positives and negatives. Our objective is to establish a UNP government. Those hoping to join us are prepared to obtain UNP membership. This is our stance and we are against them joining us as members representing the SLFP.
අපි කියන්නේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයේ පක්ෂයක් විදිහට අපිත් එක්ක එකතු වෙනවට අපි සපුරා විරුද්ධයි.
The Balamandal meeting of the Kumburapitiya electorate of the United National Party was held at the Sanasa Hall today.
When Colombo Peta Market gets vegetables from this area, Norelia and Bandarawala, people of the bazaar demand prices separately for pumpkins, leeks and tomatoes. As such, people you have voted and appointed to the parliament are being priced currently by this dishonest political practice in the country. We fought against this from temple trees for party members. What happened when we conducted this? Unbelievable incidents took place. Independent people who don't represent a party, professionals, intelligent people and seniors, they all felt this is very pathetic and they stepped to this fight with us.
The Sri Lanka Freedom Party convened a media briefing in Colombo today.
The Prime Minister has decided to resign from his position today. The President can now appoint a new Prime Minister and a new cabinet. We have learned that a good Finance Minister is to be appointed.
If the
Prime Minister is to remain in his position until the relevant court proceedings are disposed, the President cannot appoint a new Prime Minister or cabinet. This will result in the public service employees not being given their salaries from next year onwards. Therefore, the Prime Minister has decided to resign from his position to prevent the people from facing a crisis.
The foreign ambassadors can now sleep well as their wishes have been fulfilled. Remember, this fight was not against Karada Ratna Jayasuriya or even Ranil Wickremesinghe. This fight was against foreign secret services such as America's CIA and Britain's MI6. We can now witness how the UNP will dance to the tune of the TNA in the future. The foreign ambassadors can now sleep well as their wishes have been fulfilled. Remember, this fight was not against Karada Ratna Jayasuriya or even Ranil Wickremesinghe. This fight was against foreign secret services such as America's CIA and Britain's MI6. We can now witness how the UNP will dance to the tune of the TNA in the future.
The passing out ceremony of officers and cadets of the Sri Lanka Military Academy in Diyathala was held today. The ceremony was held under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena.
This was the 93rd passing out ceremony of the Sri Lanka Military Academy. Among the 234 that passed out were 41 female officers and 6 Maldive nationals. The Sword of Honour was awarded to Officer A.K.K. De Silva.
1815 අපි ඉංග්‍රීසි ජාතීන්ට යටත් වෙලා 815 මාර්තුවේදී අප පත් වූ තත්වය එදා.
The foreign forces are now looking at our country at a lot differently than the way they looked at us back in 1815 when the English invaded our country. Security forces, politicians, academics, intellectuals and everyone else should understand these challenges and take the necessary steps to fulfill your duties to our motherland. Despite what political party you support, you must fulfill your duties and responsibilities towards the country for a better tomorrow. I see it is of paramount importance that we understand the influence of foreign forces and act accordingly to protect our motherland. Commander of the Sri Lanka Army, Lieutenant General Mahesh Senanayake and several other senior officials were present at this occasion. The President also declared open the new auditorium at the Diyathala Military Academy, built with the donation of the Chinese government, strengthening the friendship between the Sri Lanka Army and the Chinese People's Liberation Army. The relevant documents of the auditorium were handed over to the President by Chinese Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Cheng Zhu Yuan. The donation amount was 2,752 million rupees.
And now in some heartbreaking news, 2 children lost their father due to an elephant attack in Pemaduwa, Anuradhapura.
The Ashokamala Gama is a village with underprivileged people living with the income they earn through farming. This village has been subjected to elephant attacks frequently. These wild elephants destroyed hundreds of acres of cultivations of these farmers. Today, 36-year-old J. Kamal Nilusha lost his life from a wild elephant attack. Nilusha was a father of 2. He was attacked by a wild elephant this morning while he was on duty at the Sri Lanka Civil Security Force Chena cultivation. Nilusha succumbed to his injuries after he was initially admitted to the Villachia Divisional Hospital and was later transferred to the Anuradhapura Teaching Hospital. According to a correspondent, the remains are placed at the Anuradhapura Teaching Hospital. Tambutegama is yet another village that is threatened by wild elephants. 3 wild elephants were trapped in the Tambutegama tank while they were roaming in the area yesterday. The Tambutegama wildlife officers said these wild elephants are from the Vilpattu National Park and Mandagala area. The 3 elephants are to be driven back to the wild tonight.
We are now joined by Azra Zan with the weather forecast.
A very good evening to all our viewers. You're joining me, Azra Hassan, on Weather First. Let's now take a look at the weather forecast for the next few days. Due to the deep depression in the Bay of Bengal, especially the deep depression will convert into a cyclone during the next 24 hours and it will gradually move towards India. Now, although this doesn't have a direct impact on Sri Lanka, the north-central Batticaloa and the Trincomalee areas will experience winds of about 65 kilometers per hour. In other areas, about 50 kilometers per hour. Now, due to the rough seas in this area, the Department of Meteorology has requested the fishing community in Pothuwil, Batticaloa and Trincomalee to refrain from engaging in fishing activities.
Sports Buzz Allianz Platinum Awards 2018.
I won the award for the best para-athlete at last year's Platinum Awards and I am determined to win this award this year as well. I am Dinesh Priyantahera.
Sports Buzz Allianz Platinum Awards 2018.
Sri Lanka won the championship at the one-day cricket tournament between emerging teams of Asia today. Sri Lanka won the final match against India by 3 runs. And that's our primetime news for tonight. It has been a very eventful and a busy day here in the Newsbuzz studios. But if you're still waiting at home and want to come to Colombo, well, this is the place to be. There are so many decorations and you would love it with your family and friends. Take care and good night.